course, and now I'm like, what the hell am I going to tell as far as the story is concerned? And I didn't really know what to do, and it's kind of morphed into just a story about how 3 Russian airplanes kind of made friends out of. You're Italian, I assume, right? I mean, Italian descent, and Dave was too.
Yeah.
And I said, because when I did an article about the Corsairs that were in Black Sheep, and I interviewed Steve Hinton a while back in like 2011, 2012, and he said something that has always stuck with me. He said that, paraphrasing, of course, I don't have the direct quote, but he said that, these airplanes in themselves aren't special. He says what's special about them is the people that they bring together.
Yeah.
And when I first got started, I was kind of, in writing, I was very airplane-centric. But shortly after that, I did a story about Obie O'Brien, who flew one of the Corsairs in the show in Korea. He flew it in 3 combat missions in June and July 1953 in Korea. And after that, I really started to focus on the people. Of course, the airplanes are still part of it, but, the people is what makes them special, just like Steve Hinton said. So my idea for the story came, how 3 Russian airplanes created a friendship between 2 Italian Americans, a Jewish American, a Frenchman, and an Englishman. So that's just pretty much what it is. It just kind of talks about, how you guys all came together around these 3 airplanes, and then, of course, unfortunately, it talks about the passing of Dave and Ira. And I didn't know Dave had passed until like 4 days ago when I talked to Jeff.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was a sad one. I mean, it was there and then gone. It was just, and mentally, he was always mentally there. You know? Physically, it went downhill. And I could still, I bought a Beech 18, buddy of mine, and I bought a Beech 18, going on 2 years now ago. And, right up till, I'd say 2 days before he died, I'd call him up with questions, and he was just just sitting on his phone, taught me right through the airplane. I'd walk right to the exact spot, and he'd say, screw there, pull that, and then you'll see, he was so sharp in the Beech 18.
Wow.
Blindly could walk me through we actually ended up getting a second parts airplane and had a problem on the road. And he, gave us this way to fix it. It was like an oil pressure problem. And he's like, oh, well, just run the unfeathering pump. It's like, no, Dave, you don't understand what we're saying. We're having an oil pressure problem. It's not the feathered propellers in our issue. It's feathered because of oil pressure. He goes, well, run the unfeathering pump. You probably have something stuck somewhere. And sure enough, we ran that, and then started, and there was oil pressure. It's like,
wow.
How did you know? He just knew all these. Beech 18 were his life, Yeah. That's kind of why I ended up getting one, just hearing all his stories. So
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him probably half a dozen times, I guess. A couple times I'd go up there and fly with Joe, and on Joe's Sunday morning jaunts, especially as I was doing or just after I did the story on the airplane. I visited Dave in Townsend, and I pulled up and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Those are Su-25s sitting there.
Sure are. He's still there.
What the hell? I mean, I went to see the Tu-2s, because I was really jazzed about the possibility of, being that close to a restoration of 2 airplanes that are incredibly rare. Yeah. And, so I was very stunned to see the Su-25 sitting out there. And, and, I look back at my interview transcript with him back in 2014, and he said he might have the first one flying by the end of the decade. And, here we are, and I'm like, boy, even back then I knew that was going to be a lofty goal.
Yeah.
Did he make much progress on them at all?
I really don't know. I hadn't spent much. Actually, at that point, anything I did with Dave was all up at Wilmington. I hadn't done anything down at the farm, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't know where he got with those.
Okay, so is there anything else anything else you can tell me about Dave that I could put in the story? Like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of prepared questions. Just kind of want to get your take on working with him and how you became involved in the Yaks.
Yeah, just Yeah, I mean, when it came to just getting my yak, he was over there looking at the L39s, and he came back. So I saw some decent yaks sitting out in the field, and so I pulled up some numbers on them and handed me a couple pieces of paper, and I said, "Well, how's this one here?" And he said, "It looked good." I'm like, all right, I'll take it. And sure enough, month and a half later, it just shows up at his farm there, and he had a little, loading bay dug into the ground, essentially. So it just trucks would show up, and we would just drag, whatever airplane showed up that week, and
nice.
We'd have to be my Yak 52s, drag it out of the container. Guy would drag the truck away, and me and a couple buddies just threw the airplane together right on the ramp and in front of Dave's house there down in Townsend. I would say, maybe a month and a half later, just flew it out of there.
Wow.
Flying a Yak out of there, it looks intimidating, but it's, plenty of runway. Dave flying those jets out of there was just...
Yeah, Dave told me he would fly L29s out of there.
The 29s he'd fly in and put the big engine on them, the Viper engine, and then fly the 29 out there. Okay. Never took a stock 29 out of there. And then the 39s he wouldn't fly in, but he would fly 39s out of there once we put together. So
okay, well that makes sense. But still, I mean, when he told me he flew L29s, we were standing out on the edge of the runway. I'm looking at either end going, "You're freaking crazy, dude!" Especially when you look at the height of the trees on the one end.
He's the 29s needed the Viper engine. That's the only way he'd get those out of there. But I've seen it. We were putting boards down to get the airplane out to the end of the runway because the ground was so wet, and he would fly a 39 out of there. Like as he rotated, mud's just shooting everywhere.
Whoa!
He'd get it up to an air taxi. We'd drive up there and just be washing it because we just got done painting it, 3 days before. Mm-hmm. So we'd be washing the thing off of an air taxi with 100 pounds of mud all around it.
Yeah.
If he had a deadline, he'd make it.
Now, did you, when did you get your first yak?
My yak I got, and it was the only one I've had, was the 52, and I think I got it in 2004. 2003, maybe, 2004, somewhere in that range.
And I assume you joined the RPA, and that's where you learned to fly formation?
Yes, so I actually joined the RPA later. I did most of my formation flying in the L29, L39.
No shit, okay.
In the beginning. Because I didn't know any formation people until I ended up hooking up with Jeff and Ira. Mm-hmm. So, I was flying with, Joe Gano, and, Don Bailey. I don't know if you met him.
No.
He had an L29. It was a white L29 with, Beetles on it. And I guess when he was in the service, his name was Beetle Bailey, so.
Okay.
So, he came out to.
Were you rated in the L29 and 39 before you learned to fly the yak?
That was all pretty close. I think I was flying the yak first.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. That was all right in the same area.
Okay.
And that's actually how I ended up meeting my wife, because she worked at the FSDO, and I got my L29 rating. And she worked at the desk at the FSDO, yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. Started a family, too, these Russian jets.
Well, there's another twist to it.
yeah, exactly.
So is that how you met her, was getting your LOA on the L29 or 39?
Yeah, back then, Dave, it was actually, it was, I think within 2 months I got both of them. Mm-hmm. And, back then Dave could just sign me off, and I just went up to the FSDO and they just, approved my LOA. That was all there was to it.
Damn,
it's not like today where you need to get a type rating, and of course now I got grandfathered into that. But I just drove up there and handed my wife Bridget my paperwork, and she took it back and came back with my, LOA, so.
Did you come back with her phone number too?
Well, actually I had a buddy a friend who worked up there, and he actually brought it up to me. He's like, Bridget's single. And I'm like, what? I'm like, there's no way I could do that. And he's like, give her a call. And so, after I got my 39 rating, I called her up. And it worked somehow. Yeah. I have no idea how that worked.
Yeah. And the Yak 50 you flew that day, does Jeff own that, or have you guys got a partnership, or whose airplane is that?
That's Jeff's airplane. So it was Ira's. Yeah, I think Ira